Hello, I'm Dr. Gloria Horsley.
And I'm her daughter, Dr. Heidi Horsley.
Heidi and I want to welcome you to Open to Hope Conversations, the podcast.
We believe that the greatest gift you can give yourself after a loss is hope, using this moment to connect with others who have not only survived but thrived.
So let's get started. Welcome to the Open to Hope show. I'm your host, Dr. Gloria Horsley, with my daughter and co-host,
Dr. Heidi Horsley.
Well, Heidi, we've got a good friend on the show today who has been in the world of grief and loss and helped so many people for so many years, and we've got a lot to talk to her about. We're going to talk about healing from the inside out, and you want to introduce her, Heidi?
Sure, I'd love to. We're going to talk today with Ligia Houben. We've known each other for a very, very long time. We met at the Association for Death Educators and Counselors, maybe nearly 20 years ago now. Our dear friend Howard Winokur introduced us, and unfortunately he died of COVID. And we are going to talk today with Ligia, like you said, Mom, about healing from the inside out. Ligia is a renowned grief and loss expert, educator, and author of 4 books on grief. She has helped thousands navigate loss with her approach, the 11 Principles of Transformation. Ligia's latest book is Allow Me to Live My Grief and Heal from the Inside Out. Welcome to our podcast, Ligia.
Thank you so much, Heidi. Thank you, Gloria. It's an honor to be back to your podcast because you know that I know you ladies from ADEC, as you said, and I have this big thing. I admire what you do, such a great mission you have, and you as individuals, as people are beautiful. So thank you. This is very special.
You're wonderful. Well, talk to us. Your new book, you say you dedicated it to your mother. We were talking earlier, and you were saying that your father died when you were 12, and your mother lived to be 101.
I lost my dad when I was living in Nicaragua. I live in Miami for many years now. And he died when I was 12 years old. And that's that painful situation experience. No, it's what eventually took me to study psychology, grief and loss, thanatology. And because I made that my mission, I made that my purpose in life to help others facing the loss of a loved one. Because I realized that we don't talk about it. Our society, still this time, it has like a taboo. We don't talk about these things. And the interesting thing is that I had thought that, yes, I had processed my father's death. I grieved, I cried, we grieved together as a family and all that. However, when I came to realize that I have not yet really, really processed the whole aspect of loss and grief was when I took a class at the University of Miami on death and dying.
Oh.
And it was amazing because when I saw the name of the course, Death and Dying, and I was like, I gotta take this class. And I was finishing my first, the bachelor's in psychology, and I was on a scholarship. I'm like, and I saw this course. I'm like, I gotta take this, So thank God they extended it. I did another major in religious studies because that course was from the religious studies department. And I realized then that all that grief was still there. So I had cried a lot, yes, still there was unfinished because we know that love is eternal. Grief, we continue grieving, but there was a lot of grief there. So my course, it was kind of a therapy. I shared with my professor who eventually became my mentor. And I realized then, this is what I want to do because we don't go there. We really don't know at times that we are grieving and we may be laughing and doing all these things. However, if we don't go there really deep, grief stays there. So that was my, as we say, my aha moment when I realized that. Yeah.
So that kind of fits into your book, Healing from the Inside Out, that you were going in, right? You really
Yes.
delved into your grief then.
Yes, because after that, many years after, because my father was very well known in my country, and my mom came with this idea. She was like, Hijita, she would say, write a book about your father's life. And then I started writing, but then I told her, Mommy, I want to write a book dedicated to his memory because I want to share my story. And she also shared hers. And this was, and I know we talked about this many years ago. And that's when I wrote my first book about grief, which is Transform Your Loss, Your Guide to Strength and Hope. So it was dedicated to his memory. And that's where I introduced the methodology, the 11 principles of transformation in that book. So time passed on, the other books and all that. And then taking care of my mom, I was her caretaker, my beloved mother. I told my mom, because she was for 48 years my father and mother, because she lived to be 100. She died 2 months before 101. And she was a joy. She was adorable. She was so happy, so joyful. And when she died, it was extremely painful because the attachment, and we always talk about attachment, and the bond we had was very, very strong, very strong.
Yeah, I love hearing that while she was old, she was joyful.
Totally.
That's so phenomenal.
She was joyful, and you know what? She was curious. She wanted to continue living, and it's beautiful because my other field, which I love, is gerontology. I love, the study of aging. I love working with older adults.
What's the hardest thing about not having a mom?
Thank you for that question because it's so precious. It's her joy, her enthusiasm, her faith. She was very religious, but it was her presence because she was a constant in my life, a constant. So when she is, she's no longer here, that presence, that constant, that person to go to, because she was 100% a mom. So that person that you can tell her everything, you count on her, all that. I had the blessing that I had her with her, and I am so happy to say that you have that with your mom because I know that since always. So that is a blessing, Heidi, that we have that. That's beautiful. So that's what I miss, and on the other hand, that's what lives in my heart. That is the most amazing thing, that she lives there. I feel her in a sense that she's in my heart. She's present. Her joy, her is there. So it has been a beautiful transition from those really, really painful times to how it evolved, But the thing is that's why I chose to call the book Allow Me to Live My Grief and Heal from
And
Grief.
how do people live their grief? What do you suggest to people?
Well, the thing is this, that based on the experience in working with clients, and we do, super vast experience doing that, we hear stories that people don't allow them to grieve. They don't want to talk about, they don't allow them to talk about their loved ones when they die. If they are sad, it's about time you feel better. Until when you're going to be talking about them? Until when you're going to be crying? Until when? Like if grief has a timeline. And when I wrote my book, the first one I mentioned, Transform Your Loss, and I introduced the principles. The second principle is live your grief. Live your grief. Like I have never said, okay, you accept and then you jump. No, it's important to live the grief. So, but that was in Spanish, came out first, 2007. So in 15 years, when 2022 came this one in Spanish, the one that I'm referring to, I heard so many stories that people, either that their family members or friends didn't allow them to grieve, or the person themselves, the griever, sometimes don't allow them. They don't give permission to themselves, and they put just, grief on the shelf and they continue. So I was like, wow, they are not really, some of them, not all, some of them, they are not really lived their grief and they get stuck. Now, after my mom died, I had, interesting experiences, no, with the comments that people make, and we know they mean well, and however, sometimes, they do not sit well with us. And I remember that I had two comments, very strong. One was that if I would say, I lost my mom, people would be very, compassionate and all that. And then if I would say, I miss my centenarian, people would change. Centenarian, pero Ligia, you should be happy because,
Mm.
and I get it. I am so grateful with God that I had my mom for 100 years, up to 100 years. Absolutely. What about the void? What about
Exactly.
the missing pieces? No. So, but people meant well. That
Yes.
sometimes people also they don't give permissions to themselves to laugh or
Yep.
have joyful moments because I'm supposed to be sad.
Yep.
Yeah, we can be sad, laugh, and then go back to sadness.
And like you said, Leah, you can also be happy that she lived 100 years and be sad that you no longer have her in your life. It's like when my father died, he lived a long life, but I miss him. And who are we without our parents? I mean, you had your mother, you never knew your life without your mother on the earth.
No,
So
exactly.
it's a big adjustment.
It is huge. It
Hmm.
is huge, and it is important to talk about it. About 2 weeks after, very close to, when Howard called me, a lady called me, and
Mm.
adorable lady, super, super, beautiful lady. And she asked me, how are you feeling? How are you feeling? And I said, terrible. And she's like, terrible. Very open, talking my emotions. I'm like, yes, I miss my mom. And she's like, Ligia, but you are an expert in grief. I am living my grief. And I lived it to the core, to the
Mm.
core. I lived it. I was so present, observing myself, because it was like I was the bereaved daughter and I was observing, the observant that you are like
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
And I was paying so much attention to my thoughts. I was paying too much attention when I cried, the way I behaved, I was thinking, and my grief and I, we were so intertwined. We were so connected, and I didn't run away. I didn't. I sit with it. I was super mindful, and I am still, super mindful with it. And there were days super hard, and there were other days filled with peace. And so I lived it, and doing rituals. I love to go to the cemetery. Some people don't. I do. And
Mhm.
I am Catholic. I go to mass, every Sunday, honoring her, to
Mm.
honor my mom. I do that to honor my mom.
I love the ritual in the Catholic churches where you can light a candle in the memory of someone that you know that's died.
Yes, yes, we do that.
You've been in this field for so many years. What do you think some of the biggest barriers are to people not dealing with their grief?
Living too fast, they want to feel better tomorrow.
Hmm.
And that the expectations, that's, expectations, their expectations, people's expectations. So
Mhm.
that is one of the challenges I think are strongest because they expect to feel better by or to do this by. So that would be one. And the other one, not talking about it, not
Mhm.
sharing, because I feel that has helped me a lot after my mom's death, that I talk about her. I
Hmm.
talk about her all the time. When I'm working, when I do the seminars, I bring examples. I share a lot what helped me, what hasn't helped me. I share a lot. And I know that's healing. And I also say to them, this is healing because I feel that way. So being verbal with your grief, and that's why support groups help, because people can come together, they share. It's not like complaining, but sharing, and they give ideas, and they walk the path together. because sometimes with their families, they can't. So I think that that would be a barrier, not to be able to express how people feel.
Tell us about your seminars and things that you're doing.
I do also in the internet, and I have the principles, I have them available as a self-paced program, the 11 principles to transform grief and loss. I have them in English and Spanish, and now I'm going to be bringing some other programs because after my mom died, I had to take care of my oldest sister. She had cancer.
Oh,
So
wow.
my mom died. I continued taking care of my sister, and she died 2 years ago.
Oh, no, Lee, I didn't know this.
Yeah, yes. So
So much loss.
it was very, very painful. There was a time, 1 year, that I was taking care of both,
Wow.
of my mom. She was living with us, with my husband and I, and my sister, Alicia, no. So, and then my mom died, and Alicia lived 3 more years, and we were very close. She was 10 years older than I am. And so it was a transition. It was, with its challenges, and that opened my heart. Because you know what, ladies, that's what I feel, that with my mom, and I tell her that, Mommy, you still teach me, after death, after dying. I learned a lot because it was so raw. So it gave me even more understanding and more compassion.
So, Lee, given this, the fact that you've lost your mom and your sister so close together in 3 years, I mean, what has helped you to find hope again?
Love,
Hmm.
love, because they live there, and I mean, my father lives here. I say it like this because I have his picture here in my office, and it's love, is moving from a place of suffering to a place of honoring them with love.
I
I
love that.
always go there. And
What I'm hearing from you is your love is expressed through service. It sounds as though your life is really dedicated to service and helping other people go on their journey.
yeah,
Now tell people where they can find you.
my website is my name, my first and last name. I'm going to spell it out because it's not the easiest. LIGIAHOUB as in boy, EN.com. And I have a YouTube channel where I have, short messages, sometimes some other longer. I am also very present, social media, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Now I'm being more present in LinkedIn. So, and I'm gonna say this, I have a podcast. It's only audio right now. I hope to expand it a little bit with interviews. However, right now it's only audio, and I'm super excited because like 5 weeks ago, we turned number 100 podcast.
That's
And
great.
I was
That's
so excited. Yes. So the name, it's bilingual, Spanish and English. The name in English is Transforming Grief. So it's Transformando el Duelo, Transforming Grief in Spanish, and Transforming Grief. So they are short messages between 6 to 15 minutes, and they are, to the point, different topics, and they have the title so people can access them based on what they want to allow me to accompany them in their grieving process. Yeah.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for being on our show today. You're amazing.
Leah, thank you so much. You've always been such a compassionate, authentic person. And I appreciate all the joy and energy that you spread throughout the world. And now that I've heard about your mom, I know where you get it from. So thank you so much.
Do you want me to show you something? This is the book I wrote to her. And I did it just after she died. And the book has over 200 pictures of her. And
Wow.
it's called her motto. Her motto was hearts up. So in Spanish is arriba corazones.
Thank you so much again for being on the show. You're awesome.
Okay, thanks, my love.
We want to thank everybody for joining us on this show today, and we always want to remind you that if you've lost hope, please lean on ours until you find your own, and God bless.
I'm Dr. Heidi Horsley. You have been listening to Open to Hope, the podcast. You can follow Open to Hope on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. To learn more, visit us at opentohope.com and go to Apple Podcasts to subscribe.
I'm Dr. Gloria Horsley. Join us again next week for another Open to Hope conversation, where we invite you to lean on our hope until you find your own.